अहमद व नसल्ली अला रसूलिल करीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली सदक़ल्लाहुल अज़ीम. Ladies and gentlemen, today I have a very special guest. A guest which is here in Pakistan from thousands and thousands of miles away from this very land. The man who was born in Jamaica in 1947 in a Christian family and very much interested in studying biochemistry, and then he was so much, as all African Americans, all Africans, all with the people who have seen the colonial rule are much more interested in a revolt movement of black Africans or the black people. And at that time the communism was basically the most important followed which into the concept of revolt. So he was interested, and then suddenly he became a Muslim. Astonishingly, his journey towards Islam is still a torch-bearing journey. That how a person can enter into Islam and become one of the most prominent figures of Islam throughout the world. Man with a vision, man who wrote at least 50 books. With me today is no less than Mr. Bilal Phillips. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sir, I'm really grateful that you come to my place and you have greeted with this place with your blessings, and you are a person with a vigor, because I have studied some of your books. They have a variety of the topics. I just want to know, the very important fact is the person having in Jamaica, born in Jamaica, a place primarily neglected by the forces around, like American colonialism and others, in a Christian family. How you came towards Islam?
Bismillah, wa salatu wa salam wa rasulillah. In the name of Allah, and may Allah's peace and blessings be on His last messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. My entrance into Islam was after a lifetime experience in terms of growing up partially with a Muslim in my family. Parents who were open-minded, my own search for a just system of governance, and a variety of other factors including the people who I met at that particular time. The time when I accepted Islam was the time of turmoil in America, where the Vietnam War was going on.
Missile crisis, particularly.
Yes.
Yes.
So, all of these were a variety of factors which led to my finding Islam at that time.
At that time, the famous boxer player, Muhammad Ali, was a hero at that time. The people like you belong to the same race and color and creed. Did you ever met him, or did you ever have any longing for him?
Well, I met him later on, when I was living in Riyadh, and he came there in the 80s. He came as a guest of the government, Saudi Arabia, and I was asked to spend time with him, staying in a hotel in Riyadh, and I got to know him, discussed with him, got to see his concern about Islam and his own efforts at da'wah, though already he was suffering from
Parkinson's.
Yes, and his hands were not steady, but he was concerned about conveying the message of Islam to others. And so he explained to me how he used to, before going to any gatherings where he was the key figure in the gathering, he would prepare pamphlets which were already printed
Yes.
on who is Muhammad, what is Islam, so on, so on, so. And he would just sign his signature on it, you know, because people would treasure his signature.
Yes.
So this was his means of da'wah. He couldn't explain Islam to the people, but the fact that they would get this brochure with his name, it would eventually cause some of them, or members of the family, to read, what is this thing about? So
I've
this was
seen
his
the
dawah.
place of Chicago airport where he used to stay and distribute the pamphlet and say, you know this man? You must know this man because I love this man. And that was basically the 3 sentences. So at that time, Malcolm X was also very famous. Have you ever came across with the man?
No, actually, Malcolm X was killed,
Yes.
you know, assassinated before I became a Muslim.
No, that
So I
Kennedy
never
time,
met
yes.
him. No.
Okay. So from Jamaica, you went to Canada for study or for some
No, my parents brought me with them
Your parents
to
went there.
Canada. They came to study in University of Toronto. They both studied in.
Then you joined the
became
University of
teachers.
Vancouver as a student of
Sometime later.
sometime later,
Yeah, in biochemistry.
biochemistry.
Yeah, but that's after my family had moved to Malaysia,
Uh-huh.
and they were while in Malaysia, they adopted an Indonesian Muslim boy who then grew up with us in the family. And my parents at the same time, especially my mother, was concerned to make sure that we didn't do anything which would compromise his Islam. So if she was cooking pork for the rest of us,
Say,
she would cook fish
For him.
For him. In
Wonderful.
Ramadan, she used to get up early and make suhoor for him.
for the boy.
Yes.
MashaAllah.
Yeah. So she was aware of what was involved in Islam, and she wouldn't make sure between herself and my
What
father.
a lady. What a lady.
Yeah, because she had studied about world religions when she was in Canada. When my father and mother had moved to Canada initially, studying in university, they did a course called World Religions, and she found out that the professor who was teaching world religions, he talked about all the different religions, you know, which involved idolatry, Hinduism, all these different religions, and he would speak about the good that is in them.
Yes.
You know, he
The
would
common
speak-
things among all
yeah,
religions. Yes.
So he but except for Islam. So when it came to Islam, he would only speak bad about Islam.
There is a
my
negative
mother-
propaganda. Do you think there is a negative propaganda against Islam throughout the world?
Well, that's a different point.
That's okay.
But this point here was unique in that my mom noticed this. So she raised this question in one of her lectures, the lectures that she was attending of this professor, and asked, how is it that all of the other religions that we have studied, you found something good to say about them, but only Islam, you had nothing good to say about it. Why is it that we're even studying it? You know, if there's absolutely no good in it at all. Later on, she came to understand that he was a Jewish professor. So
Who actually
who was
taught
teaching
against,
this course
against
of,
Islam?
of world religions. So that's why, but what that led her to do was that she stopped reading the books he recommended, and she went searching in the library for books about Islam written by neutral authors.
Non-Jews at least.
So she got to understand Islam and the beauty of Islam and the good things that were in Islam through these other books.
So you went to Canada, joined the University of Vancouver.
Well, I didn't. My family moved to Canada.
Your family also moved to
I
Canada.
was a child. I was maybe 10 years old only, 9 or 10, myself, my sister and brother. They moved to Toronto. But then later after that, they both went to Malaysia. They went to Malaysia as Colombo Plan
Yes.
teachers.
Oh, yes.
The Colombo
Yes,
Plan.
there was a Colombo plan. In Pakistan is also there were Colombo. It was an exchange program. People used to go there and they come here.
Yeah.
Okay, you went there.
So it is after going there initially that that I grew up there in Malaysia, and then when I graduated from high school
From Malaysia.
in Malaysia, I then went to West Coast Canada, which is British Columbia.
British Columbia, yes.
Yeah.
And you studied there in British Columbia also.
Yes, I joined Simon Fraser University in biochemistry.
So basic interest was in science.
Yes, that was my interest, mainly because of the fact that my first preference was really art. Yeah.
But you were forced to do this by the parents.
Yeah, I was forced to do science, so I chose
Because
science, and I chose science because at the same
it's
time,
marketable. It's marketable.
yeah, it was a specific subject I found was unique, which was called medical art. You see, so I began to train for medical art because in those days they didn't have the kind of photography which could capture the different stages of internal operations, etc.
yes.
But so the artists
Later on, which was developed
used-
into ultrasound and that things.
yeah, but in those days it was done by artists. The artists could indicate how the body was before it was cut.
Wow.
I know on the different levels that it was cut and the
Intestine and
organs
other
and all
places.
these things. So this is what I
So you
felt
have been the
inclined.
artist of the internal organs of the human body.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. So, I read that then during your education period, you were interested in two things. Marxism, because I think you have been, in 60s you have been in the university. And Marxism was the time of the idea of the day. Communist rule in China was established, in Russia was established, in Eastern Europe was established.
But it actually didn't come that way. The route it came was that the war in Vietnam was going on. And students were revolting across Canada, in the U.S., following the students of the U.S.
Very big.
They were revolting on campuses, shutting down campuses. And Canada was supplying the napalm, which was being used
in Vietnam.
the bombing in Vietnam.
Naval bombs. Yes.
Yeah. So we had professors, some Jewish professors who encouraged the students to revolt against the administrations, etc. And, who at the same time were promoting communist ideas of communism.
Yes, the Jews have been doing this for the last 1901 onwards. Okay, so you
that's
became
where I got my influence of
from
communism.
communism. Yes.
From that.
In between, you read a book, and it has been mentioned. The book was written by brother of Sayyid Qutb,
Yes.
the man who was assassinated by Jamal Abdul Nasser, Akhwan al-Muslimun's man. His book, Islam, the most understood religion.
The most misunderstood.
Misunderstood. So, what you found in the book?
Well, what I found in the book was that the author, Muhammad Qutb, Dr. Muhammad Qutb, he indicated that all religions and systems that human beings have proposed, all of them have some good in them. And all of them had bad in them, some bad,
True.
with the exception of Islam.
Wow.
That was basically the message he conveyed. And I got the message loud and clear. You know, I could see it because he brought the evidences. He showed how people who worship idols, people who are worshiping a variety of different gods, you know, and they did good things from their religion. They also had harmful things, negative things, which made the religion not worth choosing, with the exception of Islam. So that book convinced me that Islam was the way forward.
So you immediately went for Shahada, you read something more?
Well, no, the process involved talking with some draft dodgers who had fled from the U.S. and were up in Toronto, and they were explaining further Islam to me. I did go down to the U.S. and see what they call the Nation of Islam, which is what Malcolm X
yes.
had been a part
and
of.
The other man
broke away from it.
Yes, he broke away.
Elijah Muhammad.
Yes.
Was the founder.
We'll discuss later on Elijah Muhammad because the people are confused about whether he's a Muslim or not. Do you think
he wasn't?
He wasn't.
No. He had the ideas of Qadianism.
Yes, more of a prophet of his own.
Yeah.
Yes.
He claimed to be
a
prophet to the black
incarnated
to the black man.
Prophet for the black man.
So everybody has a prophet, so
the black man must have.
Should have a prophet too.
If there are so many white man prophets, then why not a black man should have a prophet? Okay, so you started reading Islam by entering into a university in Riyadh or in Saudi Arabia, or you studied on your own?
No, I tried to study when I first converted to Islam in Toronto. Mm-hmm. I tried to study from the Muslims that were there, mm-hmm. from different parts of the world, mm-hmm. some from Pakistan, some from India, Egypt, and different Morocco and different other countries. I would try to learn Islam from them, but I would find that one person would say one thing, another person would say another thing, another would say another
That's
thing.
the dilemma of Muslim Ummah. That is the dilemma of Muslim Ummah.
What is this? So the confusion that I found there, as I explained, when we were looking at one issue which had to do with if a man accidentally touches a woman, according to the Shafi'i madhab, mm-hmm. your wudu is broken. Whereas according to the Hanafi madhab, your wudu is intact. It's not broken. So now, they had already told me previously that there are 4 madhabs in Islam, and the Muslim should follow one of these 4. Right?
Strictly one.
And
yes.
If they didn't follow one of the 4, then their madhab would be the madhab of Satan.
Tick.
Okay? So I understood it was important I had to choose one. And when I asked them, so what do you advise? Which one should you choose? They said, well, most of Muslims in the world are Hanafis. So I said, okay, fine.
Because Indians are Hanafi actually, whereas mostly in Arab word is Shafi and a little bit of Hanbali. It's basically the bulk of population lies in India and Pakistan and Turkey. That's why they are
I accepted.
You accepted Hanafi.
Accepted that.
So then
but then I saw
came out of Hanafism. Yes.
I saw the confusion. I didn't come out of it per se. I just found that one says you have wudu, and the other one says you don't have wudu. And if as people were saying, that all the madhabs, they were all correct.
Yes.
You just had to follow one. They were all correct. But for me to accept that they were all correct, it means that a person could have wudu and not have wudu at the same time.
But the better is that all these 4 imams, they never claimed to be the finality. They said we're just interpreter. And if you think that this man's interpretation is better than me, you can follow that man. It's basically we, the Muslims of this time, actually started accepting this and starting actually forcing people to follow only one.
Yeah, well, the bottom line is that the teaching that was being conveyed were not accurate in the sense that something cannot be, a person cannot be in wudu and out of wudu at the same time. This is the
That's
bottom
true.
line.
This
Because
is
I told
only-
I told them
it's
what this did is it reminded me of Christianity, which said that God was three
Yes.
in one
Yeah.
at the same time.
Trinity.
Which is something which was illogical to me, which I could, because based on it, I could not consider Christianity. But I was being asked to do the same thing in Islam now, when they said you can have wudu and not have wudu at the same time. You know?
Okay.
So it was important for me. That's what led me then to say I need to go back to the source of Islam.
Oh, yes. Oh.
You know, back to
MashaAllah.
Medina, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam he
Taught
the religion as a system to the world, for the world, and there I could learn Arabic and study it from its sources.
MashaAllah.
So this is what drove me to leave. And at that time, when I decided I wanted to go, the Saudi government offered scholarships to Canadians to go and study in Medina, a few scholarships. And nobody was interested in these scholarships.
Oh, yes.
Nobody was interested in it. And I expressed that I wanted to become a student.
Yes.
And my friends who are from Pakistan, India, Egypt, etc., they all said, no, don't go. Don't go.
They're not.
You're wasting your time. You're going to go and study ancient old books with, yellowed pages and dust all over it. And even when you graduate, how are you going to look after a family?
Yes.
How are you going to earn a living to take care of your family? Don't go. But I decided I wanted to go and find knowledge from the source, and then I'll figure out what to do after that.
So you got admission in Medina University. First you have command on Arabic language.
Studied Arabic, yes.
You have been living in Arab culture, so you must have learned very early, because all people around the world Arabic speaking.
No, when I went there, I did some studies on my own, some books. Arabic Made Easy, I think it was printed in Pakistan also. And it helped give me an understanding of the Arabic language.
But to be more fluent and more
I was
apt.
living there.
Yes, you have lived there.
I lived there. Once you live there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Then you
learn
become part of the Arab world, part of the Arab culture. So there you study then fiqh or something, hadith or Quran or Sunnah?
I was in the college called Usuluddin.
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 Principles of Deen.
And Usuluddin.
Dawah and service.
Dawah being propagation.
Preaching. Tabligh, which you can say. Tabligh, and then you...
The foundations of Islamic studies. So I studied fiqh, studied tafsir.
Which tafsir you like most? Which tafsir? Razi or...
My favorite tafsir is the
Tafhim
tafsir.
Tafhim al-Quran or Ibn Kathir or...
Ibn Kathir is the tafsir that I read the most.
It's more elaborate actually. Lot of things have been put into it without any authentication and everything.
No, but the tafsir of Ibn Kathir, Ibn Kathir was a muhaddith.
Yeah, Al-Bada ibn Hayy.
So he made sure as much as he was able that the evidences that he brought
From hadith.
were from hadith sources. So he'd reference things back to hadith. Whereas a number of other mufassirun or
You like which
interpreters.
tafsir? Have you read Sayyid Qutb's Fi Zilal al-Quran?
Yeah, I've read from it also. It is more
Jargon with...
in modern times.
Yes,
it's linked up with modern times. It's using the tafsir to explain what Muslims should do at that time.
To stand against all that cruelty and that thing. Actually, it's said that when he was in jail, he started reading the books of Maulana Maududi. And because Maulana Maududi has a concept of revolutionary Islam and the political Islam, so he became very much influenced by the thoughts of Maududi, and he wrote this. Because Fi Zilal Quran is actually basically his lectures converted into this. But you didn't answer the tafsir which you liked the most.
Well, I think Ibn Kathir really
Ibn
is
Kathir,
the one I like the most.
Okay.
Because I
So-
became very concerned with authentic hadith.
Yes.
Because there are so many fake hadith and
Yes, so many.
that people
There's
circulate, and it's common.
Albani's this major
Works.
collection of this is Mawduat Kabir, Mawduat. So during those study times, then you came to Umm Qura University or somewhere else.
No, after I finished my bachelor's in Medina, then I went to Riyadh to continue with my master's in Aqidah, in theology.
Yes, theory. So, did you ever try to specialize in Hadith or Quran or something? Any tafsir, any of these two takhassus which you can say?
Well, my takhassus was Aqidah,
Aqidah. Okay.
theology.
Theology.
But I mean, I used to do a lot of hadith readings because I understood that there was an issue of weak hadith, which sometimes people were using as evidence, which was not
There's the
good.
modern time. There's two different schools of theology. One is the more concerned about the society, that you change the individual and then you change the society automatically. Second is, so you gain the political power and then implement the laws basically given. Man lam yahkam bima anzalallahu fa ulaika humul kafirun. Those who do not do the decisions according to the revelations of Quran, they're basically kafir. So which you think is better? The advocating at the societal level more peacefully, not annoying the authorities, sitting over there, helmet affair, or challenging the authorities?
I think that this depends on the circumstance. If you look through Islamic history from the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ till today, situations have changed amongst Muslims from time to time, from place to place, and scholars and reformers have arisen to try to get people back to the correct path, which Prophet Muhammad ﷺ left behind, which was a moderate path. He stressed, not going to extremes, not revolting against the leaders, but changing in accordance with the Islamic teachings, which are done in such a way that the harm that one brings is not greater than the good that one wants to achieve. It's the idea of always being concerned about the society as a whole. Though you work on the individual, the society is more important ultimately than the individual for its existence.
Yes.
For its existence.
Yes. Collective life.
But relative to the individual, then the part of Islam which focuses on the individual is more important than what deals with the society as a whole. Because of course we have to work on ourselves and correct ourselves.
True.
Because if we're not corrected and we're calling people to change and improve and benefit, but we're ourselves distorted, our ideas are mixed up, etc., then we're calling people to destruction.
The entire world is basically in the clutches of 2-3 basic systems established by the modern Western civilization. Number one is the international monetary system based on interest. In 1944, IMF and the World Bank were established, and the entire world is in the hands of almost couple of institutions, and more than 3 or 4 dozens of banks. Number 2.
But that's changing right now.
I know. Yes, that's changing.
It's changing right now.
It's after
you know,
2008, it's changing.
Yeah, with China and Russia.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Breaking away, Gaddafi trying to break away to go
You know,
to
Gaddafi,
gold.
I sent Omar Vadello to Gaddafi. You know, Omar Vadello was dealing in gold and silver coins. So he just went there, and Gaddafi became very emotional and said, I'll sell the oil in gold. And the entire West actually went against Gaddafi, and he was basically met a very bad fate. But it's changing, but not until now it has changed.
What's happening in West Africa right now, if you're reading about what's happening with what they call the Sahel states,
yes,
you know, they're breaking away from the French banking
system,
you know, and they're going back to gold. They're already gone back to gold.
Yes.
And that this trend now is building.
It's
and
building.
China is supporting it, and Russia
is buying gold, maximum gold. China is buying maximum. Russia is exporting. Russia is actually not gold based, basically on ruble and the thing. Russia has been practicing this for the last 75 years. During the communist regime, there was no interest system. They were out of the International Monetary Fund, and they were doing their on their own. But anyhow, the countries which basically primarily are Muslims, they are in the clutches of the World Bank and IMF and the interest system. In 2008, it was out. The entire world system was collapsed. There's only 1%. My question is that there is one economic system. The second is education system. The entire education system of the world is based on secular principles, based on scientific ethics. Whatever the science has revealed, it is the truth. The reality is this. And whether if it's changed after 100 years, and they say you have been teaching lies to the people, but you have to accept that day reality as a truth, not as a relative truth. The education system is in their hands. Number 3, the media is in their hands. So all these things, what do you think that the Muslim Ummah is completely in the hands of a prey in the hands? It's just like a prey. A big vulture is basically there. What Muslim Ummah has to do at the moment?
Well, we have to change the educational system.
Excellent.
You know, we need to go back to the essence of education, which the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had said, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. That, you know, this was the essence of his message. That's the essence of education. That is the highest of moral character traits. So morality has to be brought back into the classroom. After Western atheism took morality out of the classroom, they're famous for that statement. We removed morality, removed God from the classroom. So once you remove God from the classroom, then you can have Oppenheimer building a bomb which will kill 10,000 people in an instant.
Yes.
You know, and because some people would ask, how in the world could somebody actually build such a, you know, such a destructive
deadly device? Yes.
Yeah, you know, well, obviously you have to cancel your morality. Good and bad is relative to something else, not what is essentially good and essentially bad. It goes back to what's in my interest. I've been hired to work for the government and produce this bomb. It's in my interest to produce the bomb and get my payment for producing the bomb. What happens with the bomb and the consequences of it is irrelevant to me. You know, I did my part. Whatever they do with it, that's their business. So this kind of attitude...
You know, all the heroes, today's heroes are basically who have made bombs. Every country's hero is the man who's made bomb, not was it in the book. So this, excuse me, this is important that you have to. But the most important thing is that the Western civilization took 200 years to build a syllabus, a secular, liberal, atheist syllabus. They developed body of knowledge, which has particularly the social sciences. Social sciences is basically the replacement of the religion, because social sciences say I have been evolved from a small amoeba, and then from a monkey, and then from a chimpanzee, and then from man, and I have to, as per force, realize it. The social sciences teach me that man and a man can marry, and female and a female can marry, and the LGBT is going on. Though they are only 1% in the world, but their respect is more than 100%, because they come under the banner of fundamental human rights. So this education system, do you think that in any nation, whether they are oil-rich Saudi Arabia, whether they are a good economic and even educational level of Malaysia, whether the nuclear power of Pakistan or the UAE, which has been a focus of investment, any country is doing such a job anywhere
What job?
to replace the education system? Because you have to, when you think that that education system actually does not serve the purpose of Muslims, you must have a separate alternative. We don't have an alternative.
Well, the alternative has been proposed. The International Islamic University in Malaysia, by the founders, they had also questioned these issues and proposed looking at finding a new base, a foundation for the various areas of learning. And this idea, for example, in my university, the International Open University, focuses on providing a basis for education which is built on ethics and morality. That these are the guiding principles which should guide in all fields of thought. So whatever course is being taught in the International Open University, IOU, the professors who are teaching the courses are obliged to give the Islamic perspective on the various topics that are covered, because every topic that you can come up with, there will be an Islamic perspective,
interpretation, and even Islamic thought behind it.
and an un-Islamic.
Yes, Steve.
So this idea now to introduce this approach to knowledge and education and dissemination of education is the basis needed to develop a new foundation for education. That's why the motto of the
Islamic International University
is changing the nation through education.
Excellent.
We've made that the motto. And inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. So this is the essence of
which
that
nation
same
is
message.
which nation is ma bi anfusihim? Which nation do you think is more for ma bi anfusihim? Is do you think you can judge is doing this?
I believe that
The changing
there
with
are
the nation which has an
individuals-
aspiration to change towards Islam.
It hasn't reached a stage where the leaders have focused on the importance of moral education. So but it doesn't mean that people in the society are not concerned with that. So you'll find I've met many teachers, many school principals, and founders of schools, etc., who have this consciousness, the awareness that it is necessary to bring the religious, the divine knowledge foundation back into the educational system.
The other important thing is, if you go for a change in education system, the two important things. One is the curricula at a very high level. Then you don't need much to introduce it, because you can't change the physics, you can't change the chemistry, you can't change the mathematics, but you can have to change the social sciences, like like political science, like sociology, like anthropology, like what's the religious doctrine. But the important thing is the education at the very beginning and formative years, which are called the nurseries, where you need the cartoons, where you need the comics, where you need the storytelling, where you need all the small books to be taught. Do you think that is there anywhere in the world where such work is going on? Because Muslim
No,
doesn't
it
have.
is going on.
Oh, okay. Where?
It is going on. There are people working on educational texts, etc.
Yeah, that's
that are
very
being
few. Yes, I've
yes,
seen.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I myself personally, back in the 90s, I started a series of books called the Iman Readers. This was for
Wonderful.
students who had studied the basics, grades 1 to 6, studied the basics of reading in English. And then after you've learned the basics, you have to implement it by reading texts. So the series of textbooks were developed, 56 books were developed under my supervision, which helped students from pre-kindergarten up to grade 6 be able to read effectively and also get messages concerning of Islam in the process of reading, in the stories that are used inside of the book. So there's a combination
Excellent.
of using storytelling.
Which school system they are taught at the moment? In Malaysia?
Well, it's some in Malaysia, some in Indonesia, some in the US, some in the UK. Yusuf Islam's school in London used the books, and inshallah it's being used in India, in Pakistan. It's being printed in Pakistan.
Is it printed in Pakistan?
Yes.
MashaAllah. Which organization is printing it?
This Awfaq.
Afaq. Oh yes, I meant Afaq. At the primary level, they have been doing this for the last. But they're doing it for so many years. I think the Afaq. Yes, Farsi's Mr. Farsi is there over there. Yeah. Okay. The other important thing, which is faced by the Muslim Ummah and almost every country, is the media, the onslaught of the media. It completely a structure based on junk of lies, wrong stories, propaganda, and other things. And the onslaught is such that you have to believe a completely baseless story. Do you think that this onslaught is much bigger than the onslaught of education system and the International Monetary Fund?
Well, the media, because it's reaching a wider audience, the damage is going to seem greater, naturally, because of the audience that it's reaching.
Yes.
So potentially, all the different factors that you mentioned could be as great if they reach the greater number of the population around the world. So it's not really what's wrong. Falsehood, as they say, if you tell a lie enough times, people will think it's true.
The Goebbels said that Hitler's Minister of Information actually said it.
So that's the point. The lie is being taught.
Rapidly as a truth.
Repeated,
yes.
And the more your system repeats it, the more people are affected by it.
So So now because time's short, some of the controversies, you have been banned in United Kingdom, Australia, Denmark, and then Kenya, banned from re-entering Germany, ordered to leave Bangladesh for extremist news and possible terror links, and arrested and deported from the Philippines for inciting and recruiting people for conduct activities. But this is I read it from this. How much truth is in it?
Very little.
Very little. If you read about me, you will find this ban, and it's very little. That's true. Which means This is very little. You have been traveling around.
It is true that I've been labeled a hate preacher.
Just, oh, just
And everybody who promotes Islam is labeled a hate preacher.
Hate speech.
Because Islam, according to them, involves hating other religions and etc. So from that perspective, yes, it exists.
That's true. I also face the same thing. Even though my wife was actually offloaded while she was going to America to attend a marriage ceremony. She was offloaded from. I was stopped by after Trump in 2018, and then on different. Okay, but because I heard your name in 1996 when I first went to America, and there was a state guest, and they were getting us a tour of the 9/11 0 point, which is 0 point, the World Trade Center, and then said the people who've been involved in this thing. Your name was also there, very much famous that time. But I heard the story that it was just basically the American investigating system was so false. They just implicate people. So what was the story actually, so that people should know?
Well, they were following different Islamic activists, etc., among them myself. In one of the masjids in Brooklyn, I was photographed hugging one of the people who came and prayed there, and it's actually
So you must have whispered in the ears.
There must be a part of many others who came to hug me afterwards. And any masjid I go and pray, people come
you have been investigated, or you have been arrested in America also?
No, I wasn't arrested.
You were not arrested.
So the point is that they took this picture, and that individual, it turns out, was involved in the earlier attempt to bomb the Trade Center back in 1993. Yes. So they're saying that there must be a link between him
and him,
which is just total nonsense.
So you have been traveling in Pakistan, and you've given lectures to the educational community. How you found the Pakistani people in interest of changing the society according to the teachings of Islam?
Well, I would say that the Pakistani society, like most other Muslim societies, is caught up in what I call cultural Islam instead of Islamic culture. Cultural Islam is whatever you found your family, your parents, your grandparents doing, you do it.
Yes.
Okay, then that's Islam.
If they're not praying, it's a cultural Islam. If they're not observing parda, it's a cultural Islam. Yeah. If they are dancing in the marriages, it's a cultural Islam. But Islamic culture is different.
But Islamic culture is the product of practicing Islam. When you do what Islam requires, the end result is Islamic culture, true Islamic culture. So this is a problem which Muslims face all around the world.
Excellent.
We need to find out what is true Islamic culture and then implement that.
Follow that Islamic. Yeah. I'm really grateful. You've been here. You're very kind to us. You came to my home, and my home is blessed by your presence. Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, what a conclusion. There's a difference between cultural Islam and Islamic culture. Cultural Islam is that if you have a dancing school, it's part of the cultural Islam. If you have a school going on based on the Western thoughts and principles, it's cultural Islam. If you are not praying a salah, it's a cultural Islam. If you are not observing parda, it's cultural Islam. But the Islamic culture is what the Islam says, how to behave, how to lead a good life, and how to perform according to the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I beg leave. Thank you very much.